Okay, everybody, hello and welcome. It is Wednesday, May 13th, 2026. You are here for Resume Chess. Beat the applicant tracking system and win humans with three clean moves. My name is Albert. I'm founder of Albert's List. We're a job search, AI, and side hustle organization, helping you become the most resilient version, professional version of yourself. And today, we're going all the way back to the fundamentals. We're talking about your resume, the ultimate marketing document that tells people who want to hire you what you do, who you are, what you're skilled at, and hopefully communicates that your past experience is an indicator of future success. To help me convey that and help you understand what that looks like, I brought back my friend Nader Malai, founder of Engineer Your Mission, and a career coach who does so much extensive and great work within his communities and also with Albert's List. He's going to share with you what he knows, and you have the opportunity to ask questions, which you can do either in the webinar chat or the Q&A. We'll also be recording this webinar, so you'll find it on our YouTube channel later, and we'll send you a follow-up on that as well. Nader, I feel like every time you and I have one of these webinars, um, AI changes the world again in terms of how people can job search. So tell us what you've discovered in the last time that we've talked, and how's it looking for everybody?
Uh, it's looking good for anybody who's accepting, adopting, embracing AI. You
Yeah,
know what I mean? Is stepping into that AI train and taking the ride, you know?
yeah.
Those who are stubborn enough not to, I only wish you luck. Everybody else who's here, you're not one of those. We're on the train together
Yeah,
with
they've taken the
Albert.
first step towards being more resilient. So
Yeah,
congratulations for
it's
being.
awesome. If it's the first time you guys are here to learn something about AI, welcome. You know what I mean? Yeah, drink out of this fountain of youth, and you're
And
gonna
I
be
mean,
so
look,
excited, you know?
before you get into your presentation, like we do a webinar every month or so about how building a side hustle with AI, and we ask a poll of whether people have touched AI tools or not. And out of like a room of, I don't know, 75 people, I 10% sometimes have not touched AI yet. So it's a new thing every day for folks. Yeah.
Um, yeah, it's fine. I mean, if someone's here for the first time, you know, don't feel bad. Actually, feel great. It's great to have you here. I started this journey 3.5 years ago. Uh, let me share my screen. Tell you
Yep.
guys a little bit on my story. So we hit two birds with one stone, and I'll include how I got into AI. I think it's a good foundation to talk about. And then from there on, we'll just go into our presentation. But I believe it's good for you guys to understand who I am and frankly why you should listen to me, why you should stay here. Um, to do that, I've shared my LinkedIn profile URL in the chat inside Zoom. I'm gonna do that one more time right now. And that way you guys can click on it if you joined in just late or just now. Connect with me here. Send me a connection invite and I'll accept it later. And drop your questions and comments in the chat. I'll look at them later. But from here, moving on, I want to stay focused on the presentation so you guys get the best version of me, the focused, excited version of me that's going to just give you everything I have because I'm today, and again, my promise was, as I always is, that after you go through today, you won't need a career coach to do this stuff for you. I'm going to give you the entire handbook. You have the video, you have the recording, you're going to have direct access to me. If you attended this presentation, I always have offers, promotional offers, discount offers, and things like that, free consultations. All that stuff remains the same. If you want to connect, if you want to take advantage of those, just connect with me and then I'll share with you a link to my consultation calendar, where other services are. You can check that stuff later. So again, I'll share this link later on. If you want to learn more about the community I have, the school community where we have 250 members, landing job offers like this, $70 an hour, $90 an hour, 94K. I forgot Greg's offer, but 200K. Michael was 175, 185, 95. We're getting on average, 4 to 6 offers per month. Again, this stuff I can share with you later where you can see real people who are going through the coaching and what you're about to sample today. They go through the entire coaching. Uh, and get results. So ultimately, you guys are here for results. I don't think any one of you here is to just make their resume look better. Nobody cares about making their resume look better. You should care about two things: job interviews, job offers. Resume is just one of the tools that get you the interview. Job offers depends on your performance on the job. But anyways, long story short, a bit more proof so you know why you should listen to me, why I'm here, how long have I been doing that. And the best source of feedback, quite frankly, the only unbiased source of feedback are customer testimonials, client reviews, LinkedIn calls and recommendations. I've been fortunate enough to be in this field for 16 years, since 2010. I can't believe it's the 13th of May 2026, but it is, in 3 months, it will be exactly 16 years that I've been doing this type of work. I've helped just over 1,300 professionals, primarily within engineering and technology sectors. I've got 196 recommendation messages here, which is a great place for you guys to go and actually click on these people's names, read their reviews, and there's plenty of them, and decide if this is someone you should listen to, if this is someone whose advice is legible, you know? So I'll let you figure that out by yourself, but also take a look at my background. I've volunteered a lot. I've written, over 500 articles over the last 16 years for various different publications. My background is electrical electronics engineering. So I'm not sure if any of you guys have a similar background, but it would be pretty cool to see if how many engineers we have in the room today. Let me know. I know you guys are sending me connection requests, so send me those invites. We'll connect later. But I ended up working in the IT, in the telecom sector, in the back end, in networks and operations, connectivity, security, and then transitioned to the IT sector, more on the technical sales side of things. Worked my way up to becoming a solutions architect. Worked with a lot of great companies and great brands. From there on, my story is really interesting because I went to this recruiting company looking for an engineering job myself, and they're like, "Well, why don't you just work here?" You know what I mean? So it was fluke, it was chance, it was luck. And yeah, I got in. And the long story short, within 2 years, I was the number one engineering recruiter at Randstad, the engineering division of Randstad in Central and Eastern Canada, within 6 offices, over 200 recruiters. And again, I've worked for amazing companies, lots of different industries, great success. And I just look back at what I was able to achieve for that company, left and started my own business. Started Career Recovery Academy, started recruiting and coaching at the same time. And I carried primarily recruiting, so it's a 70% recruiting, 30% coaching up until COVID. March of 2020 is especially when I stopped and canceled all my recruiting contracts, and I went head in full time, like 12, 15-hour days of coaching. I don't do that kind of work anymore. Maybe like 6 to 8 hour days are great, because I'm really busy and I work with a lot of amazing guys like you. And it was 2020 that my partnership with Albert started, and we've done many events together. And it's always fruitful. It's always great. So on top of that, there are again video testimonials here. I've got a bunch of you know, 5-star reviews on the services page. There's plenty of proof for you guys to look into, and I'll let you do that by yourself. I'll stop talking about myself so we can carry on and talk about our presentation. Cool. But to close the conversation around AI, 3.5 years ago, now you see again, I have a technology background. I adopted AI, and it was like sitting on a jet boat, like one of those jet boats with 4 engines, where they, carry candy from southern Florida to. So I was on a jet speedboat, is just like going through it. I still do some days where I'm just working with AI, chatting with ChatGPT for like 6, 7 hours in a row, like insane sessions, brainstorming sessions. I love AI. I live by it, can't live without it. I've used a variety of different tools. Definitely a power user. I talk to it. It knows everything about me, personal and professional. So if you have any questions, let me know later on. DM me around AI. What should I do? How should I do it? Da, 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 da. What's the future going to be like? I can tell you my opinion about it. But today you're here to learn how to write better resumes. After today, my promise to you is that you don't need a career coach no more. what a career coach does uh, well, career coach does a lot of things. So let me just shrink myself down to a resume writer that I'm not. It's just one of the, I don't know, 20 different things I do. Well, one of the 27 things I do, if you want to be specific. One of it is a resume. You need to do 27 things. There's 27 chains in this link. Let's call that link, that process, your job search journey. There's 27. I've narrowed it down, still did down to 27 action items. One of them is the resume writing. Resume writing requires you to know actually who you're writing for, what are they expecting to see, and then how to tell a story in a clear, concise, yet impactful manner, where the person picks up your resume, the first impression is inviting, it's low friction, easy to scan, talks about your full story, past experiences, present skills, and future goals. And you're going to see me talk about that at least another 5 times. I'm going to be like past, present, future. Your story has past, present, future. Tell me about your past. What are you doing right now? What do you want to do in the future? What are your goals? So that always comes up um, because it's the most, it's the thing that's missing from almost every resume. Uh, Quite frankly, if you guys want, I did this last time. I wasn't planning to do it now, but let's see who's fast at this. If you guys want to, whoever sends me their resume needs to be in a Google Doc format, editable Google Doc format, and one job description along with it that you want to personalize your resume to. And I'll do my best to do an example. Doing the example is super easy, but if you guys actually want to see it, because I did this last time, I wasn't planning to do it today because it extends the presentation and it really it's super easy to do it because you just copy paste the prompt, you run it and you're done. Basic editing and you're done. But if anybody wants to drop their resume along with a job description, both need to be in a Google Doc format, drop it in chat. I'll give you guys a minute to do that. I'll look at it if it's ready to use. If it's good, we'll use it as an example and I'll actually you might end up with a new resume today. Cool. Uh, so I'll answer one question from Jerry that came in. This should give anyone who wants to drop their resume in here a volunteer to get an update or at least get feedback on the resume, a little bit of time to search and upload. So I'll take a minute to answer Jerry Ann May's question in the chat and then we'll transition to our presentation. So Jerry Ann says, I know different AI platforms are better for certain tasks like ChatGPT for fast test manipulation. I've never heard that in my life. I see different people have different experiences, but I've never actually heard ChatGPT being good for fast test text. I don't even know what that is. Claude for planning. Claude's good for everything. What is your recommendation for the platform to use? So it's not about the platform. You can use DeepSeek. You can use whatever you want to use. It's about the instructions. It's 95% the instructions. So it's the prompt. Likely the prompt the average person is using here is one paragraph. I'm guessing like about 50 words. Here's my resume. Here's what I do. How about this? Update that. The document you guys are looking at is 18 pages. It's 18, not 19. The first page is instructions. The first page is really important, and we're going to start talking about that. But take the first page out. It's a 17-page prompt. It's the 17, so it's one workflow, 3 prompts within that one workflow. It's 17 pages long. So and this is what I've built after doing this for 16 years and 3.5 years of using AI. So if you get to this point that you have, I'm saying this biasly, but it's the most detailed instruction manual for writing a resume, then it doesn't matter whether you use ChatGPT or Claude or Gemini or DeepSeek or X or Y or Z. Those generalities that you hear about, there's truth to them. It's kind of like saying a Toyota Tacoma is good for off-roading. Yeah, but it's also good for a lot of other things, or like Toyota Corolla, you can do off-roading with it too. It's just going to be a little more bumpy, you know what I mean? So it's like, what is your application? What are you trying to really get out of it? You know? Uh, so PL, whoever PL is, I don't have access to your resume, so let me try this again. Same thing with this. You gotta make these public files. Yeah, all these files you're sharing, they're all private to you. You gotta make them public. Who else? Coach Kiana. I don't have a job description yet. So Kiana, without a job description, you're not ready to write a resume. The prerequisite to writing a resume is knowing who you're writing it for. What do they want? What is the problem? You know, the problem always comes before the solution. So, JP, if you can give me access to those files, just make them public as you just did. Thank you. Uh, let's see. So we've got your resume. I think the cover. This looks like a cover letter. So this we won't need. Cover letters are absolutely relevant today. Depends on what you write. If your cover letter just repeats or summarizes what's on your resume, then that's redundant. That's worthless. It's useless. You don't need to say what you said in the resume again in a shorter way. So cover letters have a different structure, different approach. Cover letters should talk about the job and why you like the job, why you like the company. Resumes talk about why they should like you. So the resume is about you, the cover letter is about them. The problem with the average cover letter that the people read because they're looking at traditional samples and templates is that it's just repeating what's already on the resume, making the cover letter redundant, so no recruiter reads it. Uh, okay, so I'm gonna move on from this. So again, a resume without a job description is useless. We can't do anything about it, and nobody else is volunteering. Cover letter we don't need. So let's just forget about that task because we don't really need to do an example. You guys have all the instructions here that we're gonna go through so I can introduce you, so I can show you how to use it. Uh, I will close everything else. We don't need this stuff. I'll share with the link to my calendar and my school community later. But let's get the show on the road. We're 24 minutes in. I think we got good foundation, good information to begin with. I do also have a presentation. So similar to what I did last time, I want to go through the PowerPoint first. We're going to go through it quickly. It's about only 15 slides. So you guys understand the process. Similar to what I just said, writing a resume without having a job description, you're not even ready for it. It's kind of like driving to go camping, but you don't know where the campground is. It's like, where are we going? Are you going to actually drive? You might drive out of your neighborhood, but the first stop, the first red light, you're going to have to stop because you don't know. Are we going to here? Which campground are we going to? Which part of the city? There's no destination. I don't know where we're going, right? So if I were you, I would just stay parked in my driveway and won't go nowhere until I know exactly where I'm going. And then I put those coordinates, address in the GPS to start driving. Otherwise we're not ready to make a path, to our destination. Job description, exactly that. If you don't know exactly where you're going to, how can you draw a path to it? Cool. So, and that's exactly what resume chess is. Again, very nerdy engineer backgrounds that don't mind the chess analogies that you're about to see or the imagery and everything. But you gotta predict, you gotta know what your next move is before you make it. You gotta predict your opponent's moves. This is why before a job is advertised, so your opponent is the employer. Before they advertise, you already want to approach them. That's where networking comes in. The reason why networking is responsible for 70 to 85% of job interviews and more than half of the job offers that come with a referral is exactly that because it's proactive. You're not waiting for them to publicly advertise a job where everybody in the world and all the bots are going to submit a resume to it. You want to be a little bit ready for it. You want to be proactive about it. But assuming the job is out there, the job is advertised on their portal, on their website, now you want to write a resume that beats the ATS, so passes the applicant tracking system. So yes, it needs to be keyword optimized. It needs to have all the right words and everything. Um, Today's applicant tracking systems that are backed by AI or connected to an LLM are smarter enough and they will look for context. So if you could have gotten away with not so well structured sentences or just making lists of stuff where people make a list of all the softwares they used in their life, even if it was 20 years ago, or even if the software doesn't exist anymore. Yeah, you could have gotten away with making lists, so not writing even sentences. You can't do that no more because the AI is going to read that line. And it's like, these are just kind of a bunch of words together, separated with commas. There's no sentence, there's no statement, there's no structure, there's no message that's being communicated. It will score at zero, it will score at lower than it would have 5 years ago when the applicant tracking system wasn't as smart as it is today. So your resume needs to pass through the applicant tracking system that has this AI armor on today, and it needs to win the heart and the minds of the humans. So it still needs to make it to the human's eyes within a couple of pages. It needs to be story driven. That person wants to know where you've been, where you are, where you want to go, your past experiences, present skills, future goals. That needs to be clearly communicated. Past experiences is the proof you have to offer. The skills you have today determines your fit. Your goals communicate your direction. If you're going in a direction that's not aligned with our company, that is enough reason to disqualify you and not proceed with your resume. You could have been coming from a direct competitors of ours, have all the exact skill sets that we require for the role that we are advertising. If you've decided to work in a farm and raise chickens like I want to, you're no longer moving in the right direction that we are. Although you were an electronics engineer with all these amazing semiconductor skills or whatever your skills are, you're no longer interested in that industry. You have changed directions. You wanted to work, you used to work in semiconductors, now you want to go into a medical device company, so we're no longer interested in you because your direction has changed. That's how powerful direction is. So keep that in mind. And I see questions are coming in the chat. I'm not going to get distracted by them. We'll answer them all at the end. If we run out of time, I'm offering all of my time to answer any questions you guys have in our DMs on LinkedIn. So definitely reach out to me and get these questions answered because we've got what, 46 people here? Chances are 40 of you need strategy, approach, or perspective shift first. This is after coaching thousand, like over 1,000 people, 1,300 people, and interviewing over 5,000 people, and having interactions probably 10,000 people, and the patterns are the same. It's often perspective or approach or the viewpoints. And when you change it, you realize that, oh, okay, that's why direction matters so much. Oh, that's why we tell a full story of our past story. Oh, that's why we write our skill sets this way because it's not really the fit, how I prove that I'm a fit to that job. It's not about my skills, it's about the problems they have. So instead of talking about my skills so much, I got to talk about the problems they have and then how I can solve it. Problem comes first. You see that topic's coming up again. Such a common problem where you see resumes are 100% about you. You haven't mentioned a single problem you solve. Well, that's a big problem, because it's a big problem. Because from an employer's point of view, recruiter's point of view, recruiters are looking at resumes, searching to see if this person knows what problems we have. See if this person understands why we want someone in this role. So instead of 100% self-promotion, you need to tell a story of who we are, what our goals are, what problems are we experiencing on the path to achieving those goals, and then how you would go about solving those problems so we can get the results that we want. You know, it's when you write a resume, you're thinking about job searching. You're 20% of the conversation is you, 80% of the conversation is about them. You have to really focus on the employer, who they are, who they serve, who their customers are, what do the customers want, what problems do they have, where is the company struggling to offer the services, solutions, or products to that customer, because you come in somewhere in there to solve those problems, achieve the results the business wants, so their customers happy. That's the exact reason why earlier I said without a job description, you're not ready to write a resume. you know? Cool. So I think that's enough context. We're half an hour in. I'm going to sprint through the rest because the foundation is built. If you guys have questions, take a little note, make a little sticky note for yourself, or drop the question or the thought or the comment in the chat so we have a record of it to review next. But today, you're going to learn how to build your resume so hiring teams can see your past experiences, proof, present skills, which is your fit, and future goals, which is the direction you want to go. Because most resumes fail because they read like a biography, not a pitch. Oh, I'm glad I read this line. A resume is a marketing document. A resume should sound like a pitch. It's a self-promotional document. If you read it or if somebody reads it and the words on that paper are not actively and aggressively, to you, it's going to be like, oh, this is too much. I'm bragging. As soon as I hear that, I'm like, good. Without even seeing your resume, if you think your resume is bragging about you, I already like it, you know? Because that's what most resumes are missing. You gotta brag and promote and market and advertise and hype up, and it needs to put you first. Winning a job offer is an Olympic game. It's an Olympic sport where there's only one podium and there's only a one on it. There's only one gold medal. Nobody cares about the silver or the bronze medalist. They never got a job offer. So extremely tough, and you got to position yourself as the gold medalist. You should, like, explicitly during the interview and implicitly during your documents and your resume, should tell them that they should hire you. There's nobody else in this world for this job. This is a perfect fit for you. Why? Because you know the company, you know their goals, you know their customers, you know the problems of their customers, you know how that links to the company's processes, you know how to go about a step-by-step process to solve those problems on an employer side of things so the end user or the customer gets what they want. If the company is privately held, your goal is to increase revenue. If they're publicly held, to increase shareholder value. That's about it. So that language and the mindset that you must have going into resume writing, going into job searching is extremely important. You're going into a process of marketing yourself and selling yourself, selling your skills, selling the person who's interviewing you on the fact that you are the only person that should get the job. They won't regret it, you won't let them down, and they're going to look back a year from now extremely happy that they made this decision to hire you. That's the mindset of it, right? From here on, let me go through a few more slides so you understand it. All these little gaps, again, the mindset, the perspective, your belief. Sometimes I might already be challenging some of you guys' beliefs because I see those normally happening in the chats or the messages I get after. It's like, oh, I thought it was like this. Isn't job searching like this? Isn't hiring like this? I'm a hiring manager. I've never done this. There's always going to be some beliefs or, challenge, some emotions, you know, scratched, you know. So leave those towards the end, but everything I'm telling you is from experience. I'm also been on the other side, right? So if you're wondering why I don't work as an engineer today, is because back in 2009, 2007, 8, 9, for 3 years, I struggled to get into a job that I want. So went to this recruiting company looking for a job. They ended up hiring me to become a recruiter. Cool. So anyway, so what's the big truth about hiring? I may have already covered, but employers are not hiring you for your past. They're hiring your ability to solve their current problems. I think I've been beating this drum for the last few minutes. It should make sense, right? Resume is proof of relevance, not a full autobiography. And everything on that document might support one single targeted case, that single job, which means if the job changes, even if the job is in the same company, you need a resume. And you have the tools and you have the instructions today to rapidly use AI with detailed instructions to generate a new resume for that new job, even if it's in the same company. But if the company changes, oh, absolutely need a new resume. You know, past experiences, present skills, future goals. Past experiences don't change, So later when I show you the step number one of this process, step number one, you do it once, you tell a full comprehensive detailed story of your past achievements, and you're done. You lock that part, you don't change it. You tell the story as best as you can. You put your best foot forward when you're talking about your past experiences. And that's it. The things that do change on your resume are the present skills, because if you go from applying to this job to another job, yeah, some of the skills might just transfer to this other job, but there may be one or two other new skills that are more relevant, more significant to this new job. So you need to make some adjustments to some of the bullet points under your skills, and your direction, your future goal, of course, always changes. Going from one job to another, these are two different paths. Your direction statement, your mission statement, your objective statement, your purpose statement, all that stuff needs to be adjusted. Again, you'll learn how to do that rapidly. But make sure that you really understand it's all about solving a problem. One of the things I tell my own clients to write down on a sticky note so it's right in front of them because it's a recurring problem. You know, the average person is programmed, is conditioned to just talk about themselves. Whether you're here or on a coaching call or a recruiter call, as soon as we start talking about ourselves, like naturally we feel like we just have to talk about our past experiences. I went to school here, this job, this achievement, that achievement. But that's too early, too soon. The first thing you got to talk about is the problems you solve. So don't talk about yourself, talk about the problems you solve. If you talk about the problems first, now you're positioned. Now you just gave yourself the space to come in as the hero of the story. And the best example I always give is like the movies. You know, if you watch a James Bond movie, can't wait for the next one to come out. Any movie like there has to be something bad happening first. You know, it just doesn't, movies don't just start with sunshines and rainbows. There's always a negative event. There's a antagonist, right? So there's a bad guy. There's an explosion. Someone's getting robbed, you know, someone's dying. And then the good guy comes in and goes on this journey to find out who the murderer was and what happened at the end. So problems always are introduced first into a story, whether it's the story that you're telling, your story, or it's a Hollywood production. Cool. Talk about the problems you solve. Let's carry on quickly. This should be familiar to you when you're submitting your resume. Again, it needs to go through the applicant tracking system. This is likely where you're getting filtered, not because you're unqualified. It's because half of these resumes, more than half these resumes are qualified. So it's not a qualification. It's not a case of qualification or lack of qualifications. It's about going through many metrics and many filters, sprinkled some magic fairy luck dust, making it through it. We're going to do our best to go towards storytelling, context building, having all the right keywords in there, but there still is a chance that a large number of these resumes are going to be scored similarly or the same by the applicant tracking system. Today is a lot harder, as I mentioned earlier, to go through the applicant tracking system and make it to the recruiter because most individuals are using AI. I, after today, I know again, I don't want to be too cocky, but I know the people I work with, these presentations I give, uh, I have multiple prompt engineering certificates, development background. These prompts are what I've developed after 3.5 years. I've already tested it hundreds of times with hundreds of people. So very confident with the instructions I'm about to tell you, but I'm also realistic and I'm telling you with all that, if you're only applying to jobs online, you're there is still a good chance for you to get filtered out. So if you really want to get to the recruiter, you also got to do some you also got to do some networking. If you really want to make it through here and you want to amplify your chances of success, why don't you reach out to the hiring manager as well on LinkedIn? Submit your application, engage with the recruiter, outreach to the hiring manager. So if I'm working with someone privately, we do all three at the same time. Yes, we do start here. I write the resume for them. We engage with the content of that company, the posts they have on their LinkedIn, the posts the recruiter has on their personal profile. So we like and comment, we engage with them, we share good comments, we compliment them, and then we reach out directly to the hiring managers. So application, engagement, outreach. That's the three-pronged approach I teach as a job search strategy. What you guys are going through today is one part of that. Okay, I want to make sure that's very clear because that's strategy. From there on, your main goal, what you're aiming to get from today's presentation, is to make sure you clearly communicate your story. Again, your story has past, present, future, past experiences, present skills, future goal, your direction. So you want to move away from the biography style where I'm willing to bet most resumes, if not all of you guys' resumes, are going to be biography style. We can take a look at a few if you guys want at the end, but or I can do it privately. I see a few other people shared resumes in the chat. So if you guys want to hang out at the end, maybe I'll give some feedback. Uh, but yeah, we want to move from, hey, here's a list of everything I've done to only show them relevant proof. Only show them things that they care about. Rather than making a list of all these tasks and duties and just make an inventory of all of them, you assume they care about, they don't care about that. They want to know what your skills are that are relevant to them, specific to the business. You've noticed me spending probably too much time today talking about the customer, the pain point of the customer, and what is the company struggling with to give the customer what they need, whether it's a service or a solution or a product or software or hardware, whatever it is, right? Or backup, whatever it is. There is a business like that company, that person came to this massage company, it's like, I want back rubs because I got an accident, my neck's twisted and they don't have enough chiropractors or masseuses, like, okay, now that becomes a business relevant skill. You might think is like massaging someone, being a certified masseuse are the things you gotta talk about, oh, neck massage, vertebrae this. No, they care about how is it gonna help their business. So we need to take the business language, the money mindset, and translate it to the company. Neck massage should turn into customers saved. We're going to save the customer from leaving to another business, going to another chiropractic salon. We're going to make sure we make more money because we didn't lose that company. We want to make sure we improve the customer experience because that person came into the chiropractic office. She's not sitting there. He's not sitting there forever for 40 minutes for my massage to finish for another person to come in. So we're saving time, increasing happiness, increasing success, satisfaction. There's always a business relevant skill. You need to speak in that language. Clear direction, we talked about enough. So where do you want to go? What's next for you? You can't leave it open. You can't, most resumes, I put my laugh on this, most resumes here, 99% of them, don't even have a statement that talks about where you want to go. Because I look at resumes, new resumes every day. So it's like some of them have an objective statement, which is actually not even an objective statement under the objective statement or a professional summary statement, which has nothing to do with your direction. You summarize your past. So you say, oh, I'm an electrical engineer with 3 years of experience doing X, Y, and Z. So talking about direction, you're talking about your future. You're talking about what you want to do, what is next for you. It's not a summary of your past. Keep that in mind. We'll look at some examples and stuff later. Hard to scan, easy to scan, the visual of it, literally how it looks, it's extremely important. No fancy templates, no two sides, no graphics, no colors, black and white, top to bottom, left to right, keeping it super, super, super simple. And obviously designed, like we talked about, for the applicant tracking system and the recruiter and the hiring team. Cool. And it should never, ever, again, never, ever be a biography because most resumes are, especially when you write your own resume. You know, when I wrote my own resume, it's a autobiography of everything I've done because I'm proud of everything I've done. Things that I'm not proud of, like I was a recruitment consultant for a company called Michael Page International, uh, top three recruiting firms in the UK. It's not on my resume. It's not on my LinkedIn because I quit after 2.5 months and I started my own business. It's not relevant. I don't care about it. You know what I mean? I don't talk about it. Uh, there is a chance you guys did some things you don't care about, you're not proud of, you weren't successful, you were fired from, there was a reasons it didn't work out. Talking about it, you're shooting yourself in the leg. So there are decisions you gotta make, to keep everything that's relevant and significant. All right, moving on. Same things we talk about. The first and foremost, if you look at this pyramid, building the foundation, we got to talk about your past experiences to demonstrate proof. That's the foundation of where you come from. And then we take a look at things we've done. We share the lessons we've learned from them. So every experience we've had have taught us many lessons. We're going to look at the top 5 lessons, top 5 skills that are relevant and significant to the job we're submitting a resume to. Ordered, structured, prioritized. Skill set number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. in that order. These are the skill sets I have to offer you. Those top five skills should be directly linked to the top five problems that the person in this role solves. If you do that, that's plenty enough skills. Nobody cares about skill set number six anymore. Trust me on that. We can debate it later, but trust me, you don't even care about my skill set number four. I'm using one of my skills today. At most, to run a business, I got three skills. That's it, you know. If you go into five, it's overkill, you know, so it's enough. More than five skills, it's too much. And that's going to be sort of the middle of the, bottom of the resume. Experiences, middle of the resume are your skill sets. Top of the resume is where you talk about your direction. So this is a value proposition statement, a mission statement, vision, mission statement, not a statement that talks about your past, because we talk about your past in your experiences. We talk about your present transferable skills in the middle. This tells a story of what you want to do, what do you want to achieve. Should be the same thing the company wants to achieve. You should be on the exact same path as that company. If you apply to another company, you adopt their vision, you adopt their mission. They do something else, you should explicitly declare that you want to do the exact same thing. Otherwise, they're not going to assume it. They're not going to call you and find out and confirm. You need to explicitly say, you guys are making X, Y, and Z. I want to make X, Y, and Z. And I know how to help you because I got these skills and I have a relevant background. You have to explicitly declare. It's a declaration. Cool. That's why it's extremely important. With that said, let me take a sip of water. We'll go through the three moves and then we'll go through the prompts. At this point, you guys will have a copy of this PowerPoint. I'll save and attach. I'll just attach it to the Zoom chat. So just bear with me towards the end, so you have all these details. Um, I don't think you guys need any more explanation as we go from slide 6 to slide 15. But first and foremost, you gotta build the foundation of your experience, the foundation of your resume, which is your past experiences. Now, where I come in still to this day, I come in helping my clients choose what to include, what not to include. That's where a coach comes in. But for writing it, the only time I write a resume, if someone wants to just pay me for it. So for to write a resume, someone comes in and says it's 500. How much is it? $500. Okay, I don't have time. You do it for me. I'm like, cool. Give me your $500. Give me 2 hours. I'll be done. I'll go through the exact same structure. I still have to spend an hour with them to ask them some questions to decide what to include, what not to include, what they're applying for, what are their real skills, which one is number one, which number is number two. So the problem with any of you guys going through this process by yourself is really no problem. It's just decision-making problems because you're biased, right? You making those decisions by yourself, it may be incorrect because you got to look at it from the employer's point of view, from a stranger's point of view. You can't be emotional about your skills. You might think that Microsoft skill is still cool. They might not, you know. You might think everybody still seems to think Python is like a great skill set to have on on their resume. They're willing to argue about it. It's not. You know what I mean? You should be vibe coding like Albert was telling you guys today. You should be using AI to do anything that's possible to do, you know? If you can do something that the company wants from you to do in a shorter amount of time, that's value for them. If you can do it better, yay, you know? You save them time and you increase the quality of the code. Good on you, right? But sticking to your guns and saying, I want to do Python, whatever, no one's gonna no one's going to take you seriously, right? So there's decisions you're going to make about what part of my past experience did I include, which one gives me credibility, which one doesn't. This is where another person comes in, whether that person is Albert or me, hopefully not a family member or a friend that have biases, and you would be the worst person to do this by yourself alone. Try to take advantage of those resources so you pick and choose what to include and what to get rid of. As soon as you decide that, then you're kind of like the heavy task of writing begins. Uh, After today, the writing's going to be very simply. So decisions are made, you know what to include, you know what not to include, how to go from writing crappy to writing well to writing confusing sentences to detailed stories. The prompts do that for you. The prompts are programmed to ask you all the information. So I've embedded in a personality or a character of a coach, someone who asks you questions and guides you through the process. Um, so the prompts you guys are gonna love prompts. Everybody loves those prompts. Uh, and it takes care of the writing for you. It's just a strategy. There are some nuances. You can ask it what to include, what not to include. Have fun with it, but the goal is to make confident decisions, not to accept everything that AI tells you. It's not always right. Most of the times it is, not always. So the writing is going to be easy, going from task oriented to proof based. How do I prove something? You tell a full story of it. What framework do we use? We use the STAR method, like everybody. There's many different storytelling frameworks. The STAR method is great: situation, task, action, and results. This is where I worked. This was a problem that I was assigned to. This is how I solved it. This is what happened at the end. In this other project, this was the problem. This is how I solved it. This is what happened at the end. That's already embedded into the prompt. It is still really important for you guys to learn how to speak using the STAR method because you have to present it during the interview. And this resume format would actually help you prepare for that because it writes all of your stories in the STAR method. So you basically can read off of your resume to memorize it, to internalize it, and then say it in the exact same way in the interview, right? Uh, Okay, that's the structure. We just talked about the STAR method, what did I do? What problem did I solve? What happened at the end? Then the results of reading those statements, I can see, okay, now I can believe it. I know he worked in the similar situations that we're in. He or she has solved similar problems. This is the actions he or she took to solve them. This is what happened at the end. Okay, good. That's I can believe that person, right? That's how proof is generated. And the structure and order, again, this is good for you guys to understand, but it's all embedded in the prompt. So what is the step-by-step process? Choose a specific target role, as we talked about already. Without a job description, you can't do nothing. You first need to know, where do you want to go? We're going camping, which campground? What's the address? What are the coordinates? I need to put it into GPS before I start driving, you know? Then you look at the job description that you have, you look at the relevant parts. I'd love to do an example with you guys. If I know you guys, I think we have some job descriptions and resumes. I think Jerry and May has shared one, so we can potentially use that as an example. So I can show you what's important in the job description, what's irrelevant, what are the information that's written for you, what is the information that's written for like the government, or they're kind of like legally they have to tell you that like you have to communicate and you have to talk to people and you have to stand 4 hours a day and you have to lift boxes more than 50 pounds. Like there's some basic stuff that's written in job description that's just legally they have to tell you. You do not have to talk about it in the job description. If it's not related to the top 5 skills that you need to demonstrate or deploy, don't talk about it. Waste the time. It just shows that, again, it's the perspective thing, right? It's like, what angle are you looking at it? Are you thinking about the top 5 things that are more important, or the really basic stuff like writing reports that nobody cares about that AI writes anyways? So what to choose, what not to choose. What parts of a job description do I feed into my prompt to the AI? Which ones do I hold back? Because you never ever want to copy paste the entire job description. Most of you guys are probably doing that. Copy pasting the link, the URL, the website link of a job description. Terrible mistake. Copy pasting the whole job description saying, here's my resume, or even here's a prompt updated to the job description. Terrible mistake, right? So it would be great if you can do an example today. And defining what you own and what problems you solve. So that's obviously we talked about are really important. Identifying what improved because of your work. So the I, not the we. How did you impact it? And it has to be business oriented language. Because whatever you do, you need to demonstrate that you know that your tasks, whatever those tasks were, has a positive impact on the business, either on the dollar figures, so it's either money or it's time or it's quality. Made the company more money, I saved them some money, I sped up a process, or again, I saved us some time so we don't have to waste it, or I improved the quality of service, quality of a process, quality of a product. Time, cost, and money. Those are the three main metrics. There's also scope. We can talk about that later. But yeah, and ultimately, you got to put those numbers in because without tangible, measurable facts and figures, there's a chance they're not going to believe you. They're just going to think you made it up. Uh, Most recruiters are just going to assume that you just gave your resume to an AI to write it and make it look good and sound good. That's why the metrics are missing. Therefore, therefore, what are you going to defend? If I don't know how you improve the process, how much you improved it, what am I going to ask you in an interview? I'm going to ask you that how did you improve it? Okay, what was the improvement? You're not going to know. Waste of my time. If you don't know exactly how much money you saved the company or how much time you saved them, or at least you can't tell me before and after. Before we were at a 10% success rate, now we're at 45% success rate. So you tell me a before and after picture so I can see the delta, I can see the change. If you're not doing that stuff, you won't land on an interview. Even if you pass through the ATS, get to the recruiter or the hiring manager, looking at your resume, nothing's measured. It just looks like a bunch of AI generated content with no specific data or details because it's the data and the details that I'll be asking you how you measure during the interview. That's it. Oh, I see here you improve it by 34%. But how did you measure that? What happened? What was it? What was in the beginning? How did you do it? What happened at the end? Tell me a story about that. That's what a real interview is about. If the metrics are missing, this whole thing can crumble. Cool. All right, that's about your past experiences. That's enough. We're an hour in. Let's sprint through the rest, look at the prompts, and then get to our Q&A because we normally have good conversations in Q&A. We can do live examples and really like, do an application, perhaps. Maybe we can do an example. Past experiences are done, bottom of the resume. If this was a one-page resume, it's the bottom half. If it was a two-page resume, let's say bottom half of the first page, and the second page is all about your past experiences. On that first page, in the middle, you're going to have your fit statement. This is where you talk about your skill sets, your actual skills uh, that apply to top five skills that solve the top five problems that the employer has, so you can get them a predefined outcome. So I solve these problems using these skills to get these results. That's skill set number one. I solve this problem number two, with this skill number two, to get that result number two. Number three, number four, number five. That's the approach to it, right? So step by step, we're playing chess. Targeted strike connecting your skills to their needs. There is the employer, to the employer's need. What do the employers need? Solve my problem. Something is slow, something is expensive, something has poor quality. Improve the quality, speed it up, save us some money, or make us more, right? You need skill sets for that. So it's not about, again, it's not about just making a list of stuff. Oh, I know MATLAB, I know Python, I know Excel, I have a good communicator, I manage people. Those are all, like, if you're making lists of stuff and they're fragmented and there's no story in between them, they're disconnected, right? There's no context. You want to transition towards these are the top five problems you have. One, two, three, four, five. And my skill set number one solves problem number one. Skill set number two solves problem. That's how you buy business value. That's how you demonstrate fit. First and foremost, I know what your problems are. I'm literally telling you I solve this problem with this skill. So this is me, but this is you. You got the problems. The employer brings their problems to the negotiation table, to the interview table. We have problems. Your resume tells me you have skills. Let's talk about it. Prove to me. Where did you get these skills from? How did you get it? What would you do for our company? What kind of results? Do you know who we are? Why do you want to work here? So they bring the problems, you bring the skills, and the results is the outcome, is the combination of us working together, is the shared results we get together. Cool. That's the fit. So we talked about the past experiences, proof, present skills, fit. Future goals is direction. The most important thing, first thing on top of your resume, first thing people see is first thing most people ask you, hey, what do you do? What do you want? What are your goals? You know, what brings you to me? Why do you want to work here? Why do you like our company? Why did you apply for this job? It's always a why, and it's often related to what do you want to get out of this? Like, where do you want to go from here? So it's direction. That direction, whether you refer to it as a headline statement or a vision statement or a mission statement, it's just or an objective statement traditionally, it's it's a statement, so it's a big sentence that describes this is who I am, this is the problems I'm passionate about solving, and this is why. This is why I want those problems gone. And these are big problems, right? Big problems in the world, big problems in an industry, whether it's drug discovery or improving spinal alignment or writing better software. There are problems out there that there's businesses created full instruction for their businesses created to solve those problems, right? To help those audiences, to help those people. You're coming in and say, I want to help you do what you do. Like that's what I want to help you achieve. And that's why I'm aligned with you. So you got to see what you got to say where you're going, why it aligns with their company's mission. If it's not, then it's like, why do we want to work together? You don't want to do what we do. That's why a lot of people look at your resume, they see no direction. Like, I don't know what this person wants to do. That's how they're trained on, right? This is not about the recruiter being an asshole or a dick or stubborn. It's like that's the training. Look at their resume. Where do they want to go? What skill sets do they have? Where did they get those skills from? You could have got it from you could have great skills from great companies, but if you don't want to go where you want to go, it's like fantastic. Wish you luck. Good on you. Enjoy being a farmer, which I want to be in a few years. Maybe in 4 years. The goal is 20 years of coaching, and then I can retire maybe in 4 years and raise some chickens. In 4 years from now, you guys come to me asking for coaching. I'm gonna show you my chicken. It's like I don't do that no more. You know what I mean? It's like buy my course, but that's not my direction anymore. Although I come from that, there's 20 years of experience, thousands of customers, hundreds of testimonials. That's not what I do anymore. My direction has changed. It's the same thing for each and every one of you. If you don't explicitly declare what you want to do next, they will not attach that label to you. They not say, well, he applied to this job. Because that's the feedback, that's the pushback I always get from you guys here or anybody else is like, well, I applied to that job. Of course I want to work there. No. Well, says who? Says you? Okay, you don't matter. Of course you apply, you want to work there, but they're not gonna accept that. They're not gonna agree with that. Yeah, one or two people, especially untrained, unexperienced, they might just say, oh yeah, he must be want to do this for a living, right? But no, you probably didn't. Otherwise, you would have explicitly made that declaration. Cool. All right, that's about it. We're at the end of this presentation, and so an hour in, this is what the alignment's going to look like. You're going to have your proof past experiences at the bottom, skill sets in the middle, direction, your headline, vision, mission statement at the top. So when someone looks at the resume, they see past experiences, present skills, future goals. They see where you come from, where you're at, and where you want to go. If there's alignment between those three, okay, now I feel confident. I feel comfortable to contact you, to email you back, to message you back, to ask you if you're still in the job market. Are you available to interview with us? We see that your story is quite aligned with us. We're interested in what you are, what your skill sets are, where you come from, where you want to go. I feel like we can offer you the direction. We believe we're on the same path. Let's have a conversation. That's where by speaking this way, by getting the full story across, aligning the direction, we bring the resistance down, and the person that's looking at this is more comfortable interviewing you. Hence, interview success, booked, right? I still want to go back here and say if you're only applying to jobs online, crossing your fingers and hoping to God I get an interview, you got to open your eyes. You got to open your eyes and realize that statistically speaking, the success rate of going from here to here is between 0.1 and 3%. The 3%, which is statistically speaking shared by this is government data, Bureau of Labor Statistics. Google it, ask Gemini, whatever AI you want. What is the success rate of applying to jobs online? In a good job market, 3%. We are not in a good job market right now. So 0.1 to, I would say, maybe 2%. Let's be nice and say 1 to 2%. You got to apply to 100 jobs to get 1 to 2 interviews. If you like those odds, no comment. You can still do that as long as you're backing it up with engagement with recruiters and outreach to hiring managers. You do both of these on LinkedIn. LinkedIn is the world's biggest applicant tracking system, number one hiring platform in the world, over 1.1 billion profiles. If you're not playing on LinkedIn, if you're still only relying on your resume, you're far behind. You know, we're almost finishing this marathon you haven't started yet, but I want to get you started here. You know, you're here to learn how do you rapidly get through this so you can spend the rest of your time, like 5% of the time here, go through this prompting process, take 15 minutes, personalize a resume, and spend the next 5 hours that day engaging with the recruiter and reaching out to the hiring managers. All three together is the three legs of the same chair. You get rid of one of them, you've got a problem. You only do one of them. Try standing on one leg. I know I'm standing right now and I'm on one leg, but like, I don't know, my core is not that strong. I can't depend on one leg to keep standing, you know? All right, enough pep talk. Let's move on to the prompts. On the last slide, I think pretty straightforward, right? So what we just discussed, strategy, that's the three-step strategy. Uh, Applications, that's the ATS. Engagements, so that's the likes and comments you put on company posts and recruiter posts that work in those company. And then you have your outreach, directly messaging hiring managers in the companies you're applying. But yeah, resume is definitely the first move, is the easiest thing. We want to understand the log. By now we understand the logic, full story. We have to have a target before we write it. And you guys now, starting today, will have access to this instruction manual. What I want you guys, again, I'll share the link with you guys in the chat when we're done, so you guys are not getting all excited and distracted by now. But when I share it, this is not, you guys can't publicly make changes on it. It's restricted, but you're going to have the link. So link doesn't change. It's always here. What you want to do, you want to make a copy for yourself. If you want to make notes on it, if you want to adjust it, if anything, comment on it. So you need to make a copy. Otherwise, keep the original link because anytime I update this, you'll have access to the revised version, the updated version. Cool. First page is really important. I want to read through the first page. I will not read through the remaining 17 pages here, but I want to guide you through the prompt framework. So when you read it later on, which I do recommend you read it once so you understand what it actually takes. Like why does it take 17 pages of just instruction? You don't need to memorize the instruction. You don't need to actually apply it because it's all fully applied. But just learning what's there, what needs to be there, what was missing the last time you were doing it by yourself. It's a little bit of a learning. It's a little bit of a maybe even a humbling experience. Reading something, at least you see what it takes, right? But before you use this workflow, I want to go through this first page because this is where I'm kind of like moving away from resume writing, and this is where problems are made. If you're doing this completely by yourself and nobody else is commenting on your resumes, nobody else is making these decisions early on, you don't catch the missing metrics and the numbers, you don't catch the missing context within some of the bullet points. So you give incomplete information to your prompt, and guess what? You're gonna get incomplete information out. Garbage in, garbage out, right? Incomplete in, incomplete out. So it is really important to gather all your, to gather all your insights, make all your decisions. Again, use these prompts one at a time. Do not rush it because there's three of them. The quality outputs depends on the quality information you paste in. If your input is vague, it's incomplete, resume content will also be vague. AI is not magical. You gotta spell everything out. It's kind of like looking at a dictionary. All the words in the English language are there, but you gotta you gotta clearly indicate what you want, what the sentence needs to be, right? So it's intelligent, has access to all these resources, but if you keep if you keep instructions vague or if you give it incomplete details, the same incompleteness, is that a word? The same the same lack of context, the same lack of clarity will show, right? So what you want to do to get best results is paste only the exact information the prompt asks for. When you copy one of these prompts into your chat GPT and you run it, you press enter, only provide information is asking. Don't go above and beyond because providing too much information, it doesn't necessarily mean you're going to get better details, right? Stay to the script, stay to the topic. Again, do not include anything the prompt tells you. Use realistic details from your background. Do not guess, exaggerate, or invent any results. This is for you, right? These are instructions for you. Normally, these are instructions for me. So when I sit down, read a resume with someone, I start flagging things, right? I ask questions. I'll see if it's a guess, I'll disqualify it. If it's an exaggeration, I'll challenge it. If you're coming up with it, I'm like, it sounded like you just came up with that, right? So it's good to have an unbiased person, experienced professional person making these early stage decisions with you. So if and when you're providing information, you're copy and pasting in details to this prompt, to your AI, it's accurate, right? If there is a number or metric missing, what can we say? How can we take an educated guess? If we don't know the exact number, can we describe it in terms of the previously it was like this and now it's like that? Like we can show a delta, show a change, and ultimately if the first output is weak, which is likely, you run a prompt, you give it all the information, it gives you output. Who determines if it's weak or not? Who determines if it's good or not? If you're doing it only by yourself alone, there is a chance you're going to have problems, right? I highly suggest I highly suggest you send your updated resume to me. I rather proofread it myself, obviously, right? But somebody proofreads it for you. Unbiased, unfamiliar, experienced, knowledgeable, qualified to give the stamp of approval on that final version. Cool. Uh, on top of everything I've already shared, again, these are really important for you to figure out before you start this project. Specifically, what you owned, who you worked with, what problems you solved. We talked about that so many times. What happened because of your work, tools, systems, methods you use, what outcomes, changes, results came from it, any numbers. Like these are all the questions I would ask per job to make sure all these details are there. So do this preparation and add all this additional context to your resume. Don't worry about the way it looks. It just needs to be a context file. It could be messy, it could be non-formatted. It's all fine. The information you're going to provide to the prompt is going to be formatted into a resume style, right? So you don't worry about that. Just need clear, accurate, confident content. Cool. Last but not least, again, we've talked about this. AI is only as strong as the input you give it, as well as obviously the prompt, right? Which is why earlier we are saying, you can use a different platform, ChatGPT, Claude. It really doesn't matter if you have excellent input, clear, detailed prompts. Cool. All right, I'm gonna take a sip of water, then I'm gonna walk you through these prompts. We're gonna be done in 15 minutes. I'm gonna do 5 minutes per prompt. Won't be reading it, because then that would be another. You honestly you don't even need to read this stuff. Um, The only reason I recommend it is perhaps a bit of appreciation for actually goes into resume writing, a bit of learning, more context, some additional insights you had no idea should go into it. Maybe you see a few new formulas and stuff. Uh, that's about it. If you want to get a, if you get a kick out of that stuff, read through everything. But otherwise, this workflow has 3 prompts in it. Prompt number 1, which is talking about your past experiences, the proof. Prompt number 2 talks about the skill sets, you're demonstrating your fit. And prompt number 3, which is the last part of the resume. So we start from the bottom up: experience, skill set, and then your headline, vision, mission statement, your career's mission statement that must be aligned with the company, with the job you're applying to. Each and every time, you basically just copy each prompt one at a time. I won't do it right now because I want to read through it. So you copy prompt number 1, You copy and paste, you paste it into your in a fresh chat GPT chat window. You can put it into a project. If you're familiar with LLMs and AI, you know what to do with this AI. But very simply, for the non-experienced AI person, copy paste it into a new chat window, press enter. It's programmed, it's prompted and programmed to start coaching you through the process of gathering information, structuring it, writing it, and then outputting, exporting that resume section, right? We're going to talk about the past experiences one job at a time. So if you have 5 jobs that you've held in your past time, guess what? You're going to be doing this 5 times. You don't need to copy the prompt 5 times. You copy the prompt one time, you press enter, and then from your resume, you bring in the job description, you bring in the information you have from your last job, you copy paste that over. So you copy paste the job title, company name, where did you work, what did you do, whatever bullet points you already have, any details, any additional information, any metric, you just dump all that information and you give it to this prompt. It reformats it. If it's missing something, it'll tell you and gives you the final outcome. You copy paste it into your new resume and you're done. Now you go to the job before that. You copy paste that job. It's still the same prompt. You don't need to type it again. It reformats that, gives you that second job. You do that 5 times, and then you're done with your past experiences. Then you move on to the skill sets. Cool. When you talk about your past experiences, again, the prompt's always going to have a role. There's a specific goal that is extremely important for you guys to understand. If anything here doesn't make sense, let me know. There are strict allowed inputs. This is what I was saying. Don't just dump a bunch of stuff in here. It needs to be only relevant to the jobs, the experiences you've had. Where did you work? What was the job title? When? What does the company do? If you have their website, just type in their website. That's good context for the AI to do some research. Responsibilities you've had, achievements, projects, results, anything else from your resume. Provide that information. Nothing related to a job description or something like that that you're targeting. What not to do. Again, these are instructions for the prompt. You really don't need to read the prompt because that's what everybody asks me. Do I need to read this? It sounds complicated. And I'm like, you don't need to. Just follow the instructions. If it's not asking you for your target job description, don't just give it your target job description, right? Even if you do, I have instructions here to disregard it, but just follow the instructions. Few people have got back to me with results they're not happy with, and then I'll sit down and go through them. They've changed the prompt, they've created their own process. I was like, okay, this is not even what I gave you. Just follow the instructions, right? Don't reformat it. This is 3.5 years of editing already into it, right? Non-negotiable rules. Again, read this stuff if you want. Otherwise, just follow the instructions the prompt give you. The structure is important for you to understand. Do you need to read it? No, because it follows it automatically. But if you're wondering why does it look like this, you can always go back and look at the instructions and you can ask me your questions. So again, rules and again, examples for specific sections, the specific parts of that resume, of that part, the bullet format, everything is labeled for the AI to not get confused. Writing rules for bullets, the truth filter. So if you're writing something and it's like, oh, that's bullshit. There's no way he had done that. She had done that. Or catch your mistakes. Some people exaggerate. They make stuff up. You know what I mean? Such a common thing in resumes. Like, how did you do that? There's no way you could have done that. So it'll flag that stuff. There's logic. There's a style guide. There are multiple examples. There's a quality assurance process. So checking the outcomes before they output it to you. Uh, Before it follows this specific strict structure all the way down here. Let me put this in a new page. There. Cool. What you need to reiterate, this is the stuff you need to provide it. It reminds you at the end. You give it, goes through the process. If it needs to flag something, it'll flag it. If missing context, it'll ask you for some additional information. It writes it, formulates it, formats it, gives you that section of your last job, fully structured like that. You copy paste it into your resume. You go to the job before that, you copy paste all the information you have. It rewrites it, reorganizes it, formats it, gives you that job. You just keep doing it for every one of your past jobs that you had. You finish that up, and then you say, okay, my past experiences are done. Now I have a job description. I want to apply to a specific job. I have the details. I know who the company is. I have a good job description. I want to talk about my skill sets that are directly relevant to the job I want to apply for. These skills, my top five skills, need to be linked to the top five problems that the company is experiencing where they need to hire someone to solve. All right. So the structure is the same. Again, you copy everything, basically everything in green, everything under prompt number two. Whether you go into the same chat window, same context window, or a new one, I'd rather you just do everything in one chat window until you run out of space, because there's already good enough context in there. So do it in the same chat window. Uh, you copy paste the prompt. This prompt has a different role, different goals. The inputs are different. So the input you already have the experience, the information about your past experiences, so they're already there. If you're in the same chat window, it already has that. If you're in a new chat window, you just have to copy paste your past experiences over. So there's awareness of who you are. The new information, you need to provide it only, I will say only again, the top five duties and responsibilities bullets. Not the whole job description, not the education or the requirements or the qualifications or the preferences or the must-haves or the nice-to-haves, none. The top five duties, responsibilities, or it'll say what you will do. It's the first set of bullet points on a job description. There could be 5 bullet points or 20 bullet points. Regardless, you copy paste the first five. The first five, they're all numbered. There's a reason number one is number one. There's a reason number two is number two. Number two and three couldn't be exchanged. There's priority, importance, leverage in there. So you gotta only focus on the top five requirements. If the job description has 3 bullet points under responsibilities, top 3 bullet points. There's 3 problems, core problems they want to solve. You need to talk about the core skill sets you have that addresses those top 3 problems. We can talk about that later because I know there's always questions around it. Which bullet points do I pick? What if this one's this one's that? We can talk about it later, but the top five important problems or important duties that need to be solved. You copy paste that into this prompt. Again, there's for the prompt, there's other non-negotiable rules, there's a structure. Now we're going through a compressed star. There's different mapping rules, there's a truth filter, there's the format for the output, there's the style guide, there's a bunch of, I think there's 10 examples on here, so there's no hallucinations. There's a quality check process, ending up with, okay, this is your turn to give me the top five duties and responsibilities, bullet points, and obviously what the job title is, and, just a title and the seniority. You give it that information, it already knows where you come from. It begins to write the skills statements. There's coaching embedded into this prompt that if you don't have the skill sets, it'll tell you. I'll give you a coaching note. It's, hey, notice you're applying to this job that you don't really have 2 of the skills for. So it flags it, it tells you. So it's a way for you to qualify yourself to see if this AI, this instruction, it believes you're qualified or not. If you are, you're not gonna get flagged. If you're missing one, two, three, four, five, I mean, if you're missing like three, four, 5 skills, you probably wouldn't be applying to that job. But sometimes you're missing 1 or 2 core skills, it'll flag it like, hey, bullet point 2 and 3, you haven't got that, So FYI, you might not want to go ahead and apply to this job. So again, that's what I can pre-program into this prompt to flag those things that I normally would. The thing that I can't, like, is there's no way for me to do is that first rule I was sharing with you guys. I wish every resume I could read through and start flagging things before I run it through the prompt. So again, maybe we'll do a little bit of example here today, or again, you can take advantage of a free consultation If you guys pick a free consultation, I'll share with you the link to my calendar, career fast track call. We'll definitely go through your resume, through your LinkedIn profile, give you feedback for you to understand what's missing. At least we can review your branding, and I can flag stuff that you need to figure out before you go ahead and actually run the prompt. Last but not least, we have one more prompt, prompt number three, which is your resume's mission statement writer. This is the last statement or first statement, last thing you do here, but the first statement on top of your resume. It's about like 3 lines. It'll be like this much content. It's a lot to define, explicitly define and declare what you want to do. It's not a wishy-washy headline statement with 5 words in it. It's like literally 3 full lines. You need to describe, explicitly declare, explain what you want to do, why you want to do it, how you want to do it. All that goes into a mission statement. Just like companies have, like businesses have mission statements, you're a person as a professional, you also have a business, you also have a mission statement. So rather than a business mission statement, you have a career mission statement. Cool. So we're going to be assigning this prompt a different role, obviously a different goal, different rules, non-negotiables to follow. There's this different structure, format, the length of it, 10 different examples of what these statements look like. You see again, this is a size of a vision mission statement that's detailed. And your input. So again, you have a job description, you know the company name, you know the target role. If you're doing it in the same context window, you have already provided some of that information. What's missing is or the first two paragraphs of a job description. This is primarily where they talk about the company. Hey, this is what we want to do as a company. This is what we do as a company. This is what we do as a team, or our mission in this department, in this group is this. No bullet points, no responsibilities, no duties. We use the responsibilities and duties to talk about our skill sets. What we're talking about here in terms of a vision and mission statement is direction. The company is telling you what they're doing, where they want to go. You just need to adopt that. So it's normally the first paragraph of a job description or the first and second. The first talks about the company as a whole. The second talks about the team or the department or that product category or that platform. They still haven't talked about the person in this team or the person in this job. They're still talking about big picture, company, division, their market and things like that. We want to adopt that information to write a career mission statement. Cool. And that's basically the bottom. I think that's the bottom of it. Yeah, that's the bottom of the prompt. So do it one at a time, starting with the past experiences, moving on to the present skills, and then ending up with your future goals. 90% of individuals I've given this to, they figured out completely by themselves. They send me the final version of the resume for proofreading and likely some fine-tuning and formatting to make sure, for example, it fits within a couple of pages. So tailoring your resume is important. Uh, Relatively easy for me to do. If you guys want to have a consultation with me so we can do a resume review for someone unbiased to pick the gaps. Things like those gaps are likely things you don't see. Those are the unknowns to you. You look at it, you're like, oh yeah, I did all of that. It's perfect. I read it, I'm like, I don't know 3 things. I have 3 questions for you. Like those questions, I'm sure it's in your subconscious, you know it, but because it's stuck in your subconscious, you never care to share it. But when a total stranger reads that part of the resume, it's like metrics missing, number one, which is always there's always metrics missing. Number two is there's like problems. Like, what was the problem? Why did you do this again? I have no idea why did you do it. You did some amazing work, but why? That causes confusion. So if those are the things I want to catch with you if you guys want to book a career fast track call with me. So I'll drop this link in chat, although it's uh, although it's already part of this document. So now I'm going to share this document, copy the link. So now that's the actual document that we just went through. And I'm also gonna drop our school community because you get 7-day free trial. every week I do 3 workshops. So if you guys want to join the 7-day free trial minimum to check out the community, who we are, what you do, at least you get 3 more workshops like this. I mean, this is not really a workshop, this is just a presentation. Workshop is we actually work. We come in, 3 times per week, we actually get stuff done. We work together. Whether it's job searching or resume writing or interviewing, we do it live for at least an hour. We get stuff done, right? Rather than me presenting something new to you. So check out the web, check out the Engineer Your Mission School community 7-day free trial. Check it out. There's resources. There's detailed instructions of how to write resumes. What I told you guys. There's like step by step. Some stuff. Obviously, LinkedIn as well. You want to learn how to write your about section. There's more additional details here in terms of learning and courses, and there's the live workshops that we can work together. If you want to take it to the next level, do that one-on-one with me, definitely book a career fast track call so we can go through your resume, go through your LinkedIn, assess your job search strategy, which is more important than all of them. At the end of this, I always give a detailed diagnosis and an action plan for what to do over the next 7 days to fix those challenges by yourself. Now, from here on, whether you choose to continue by yourself or hire a private coach, which is an option, or do group coaching, you got multiple options with me, and obviously Albert does great work. You can go a variety of different directions with that. That's about it for me. Last but not least, I'm gonna upload the PowerPoint. I'm sure you guys are waiting for the PowerPoint. Let me upload that and we'll get into questions and answers. Doo-doo. Where is this PowerPoint? Albert, how do you wanna do this? Do you wanna call out the questions or should I do it?
Yeah, let's see. We had two questions in the Q&A. Um, or one, actually. Some university staff roles do not list their master's degree as a requirement. However, candidates without this degree are rarely selected for recruiter interviews. Has this been your experience?
So where are you getting those facts from? We thought that they're rarely getting interviews. Is that a personal experience? You're one person with a master's who did get interviews. You're thinking that's like a rule of life? Where is that belief coming from? I'm challenging the belief because I don't believe it. And I've got enough experience to tell you the otherwise.
I'm requesting access to your Google Doc. Do you recommend LinkedIn Premium for
I
job
don't give
search?
access to that Google Doc. Make a copy. Go to File and make a copy.
Oh, but one needs to be able to see it in order to, I think, get in to make a copy.
They do.
Oh, I
They
just tried
don't?
to access it.
Really?
And if anyone else can't see it, then let us know. They can't access the link. Okay. You have to give them view access. Yeah.
Nobody from the last presentation asked me for this. Good,
Uh-oh.
good job, guys. None of you guys are left with this, really, and no one told me anything. Okay,
Oh.
I'm gonna save it. That's funny. Okay.
There we go.
Um, Good on whoever did that. Good on you, because I think we had 80 people last time here. Like nobody said that, right? I
Wow.
clearly missed it, which makes me feel like shit, but
That just means
somebody
no one's
cares.
clicking.
There we go. So I'm just gonna upload
Um,
it, upload that document here. It's uploading right, it's 4.5 megs. I'm still looking for the PowerPoint. Where's my PowerPoint? Give me, guys. And yeah, shoot the questions at me so I can answer those.
Make sure you send your attachment to everyone, not just hosts and panelists. Otherwise, I'm the only one who can see it.
Okay.
Or I can also get a.
Yeah, no, don't request access because I'm not gonna request access to that.
Okay.
But I've just uploaded it. I'm gonna re-upload it again as trying to find my PowerPoint, but I'm gonna re-upload it again to everyone as a just a attachment,
'All right. Yeah. So do you recommend getting LinkedIn Premium for job searching?
100% worth
100%.
every penny.
Okay. Friends with master's degrees are getting interviews. So that's the answer to the
You
first.
can have two PhDs or five bachelors and still not get interviews. Has nothing to do with your education.
Yeah.
Stop fighting that. It's not the education. It's not the lack of or the additional education you have. Nobody cares about your education, really. Education doesn't matter. I am exaggerating when I say it doesn't matter, but okay, we'll give it 5%. Okay, I'll give it 10%. But chances are you're doing the 90% wrong. Improve what you're doing in the 90% and forget about the 10%. You can't lean on education. That's a common weekly conversation I have, especially for someone who's recently graduated, or it's kind of like a PhD postdoc person, which I work with a lot because they struggle regularly, more regularly than others. Thinking it's education related has nothing to do with that.
Hmm.
You know
Yeah.
about the
Job
company,
hunting is all
the
about the right
industry,
tactics and being able to position yourself well.
positioning, man. Like, what problems do you solve? I don't know. I do research. I have 5,000 publications and a gazillion patents. Good job. You know, why do you want to work for our company? What problems do you think we have that you want to solve?
This
That's
is not
that's
to
a
take
very
take
common
your thunder
experience.
away, but that's actually the basis of my tool to position yourself in an AI first world. So I dropped that in there. How do you cover up a 5-year job gap?
Depends. Were you in prison or were you in school?
Or maybe you're unemployed for
I
five.
don't know. Say the answer is like, what did you do?
Yeah.
Were you in prison? You answered honestly. Were you in school? You answered the honest answer is always the best answer.
Feel
But
like
it
I was
depends
in
on what you
prison, but I
did and
started the
what the
prison
story you
library
tell.
and I help people get their GEDs. That's part of the plot for
What
the
did
stuff
you
I wrote.
do? What problems did you solve during that time? What struggles did you overcome? What did you learn from that experience? How does that experience make you a better person
Yeah.
today? Well, how is that, how are those lessons that you learned relevant to us? Why should we care? So that
Just
can be an
unemployed.
hour-long conversation, but you're never going to find a quick answer. How do you cover a 5-year gap? There's no quick answer to that.
Hmm.
That can
Yeah.
turn into like hours of coaching. That's a big, big question to ask with many nuances. You're asking the
Yeah.
right question,
hmm
just
Oh, due to relocation and health. Unemployment due to relocation and health.
yeah, whatever it was.
Yeah.
You can't say I relocated and had overcame health problems. You can't say that. Gotta
And you can
tell
say that
the
you care gave. And I think
story.
that part of that is, just saying that you were able to manage a lot of um, operate complex pieces because caregiving is super complex. You filled out paperwork, you were on the phone with insurance, you learned to communicate well, and so forth. Yeah.
All of that. So that story has to be written down, has to be practiced, internalized.
Yep.
You say it the right way without guilt, without shame. Because again,
Yep.
the story isn't the issue. Is are you saying it with guilt and shame? If that's it, you could have you could have done some amazing work. You could have summited the Himalayas or the doesn't matter. You didn't gain anything from it. It's not relevant to us. You could have cured cancer. Fantastic. We're an automotive manufacturing company. Good on you for curing cancer. So it's there's a lot goes into that. Good
hmm
question. That's the kind of question like that's where a coach comes in. Spends 4 hours with you over the next month figuring that out and then practicing together.
Yep.
It's a good question and tough challenge to get over, but yeah,
I mean, it
requires
really demonstrates resiliency. Here's another one. What about maternity leave? How would you handle that on a resume? I think it's actually the same area, because
same
if you're
thing. So
being a
again, you
mother is,
start by, I had a child. Honest answer is the best answer, but
yeah.
it can't end with that. I was a stay-at-home mom and now I'm here. It can't be that. Like that
And
would be
in
a
between raising my child, I vibe coded a mobile app. you know?
2, 3 minutes of a story. What did you learn? How has becoming a parent changed you for the
Yeah.
better? How has that improved your productivity? What goals have you accomplished that you could have not have accomplished had you not been a mother or father? There's so much into that, you know?
Yeah.
These are relatively easy questions to answer, but the answer is not the 2, 3 words that you're looking for. It's not a
Yeah.
quick band-aid patch. It's not, there's no patch for it. It's a clear, comprehensive, confident, calm story that they care about, that there's relevance in it for them, that you do not look back at with shame and guilt and denial, because that's normally what happens.
Yeah. All right. Any recommendations for determining who the hiring manager is for a role when it's not specified?
It's rarely ever is specified. Yeah, you got to learn what the job title of the person is. So if you get to join my school community, you know, take advantage of the 7-day free trial, go to the classroom, and there's a master class I did a bunch with Albert, the last one we did together called the Job Search Chess Masterclass. This is the Resume Chess Masterclass. The other one is called Job Search Chess Masterclass. There's a three-step process. Step number one, who are the right companies for me? Number two, who are the people? What is their job title? Who do I reach out to? Number three is what do I say to them? So right message to the right person in the right company. That's what the other masterclass covers. Uh, you can finish it in 90 minutes.
Yeah. There's one of them. Let's see. Does your resume need to align to your LinkedIn 100%?
Yes.
Yeah.
LinkedIn comes first. LinkedIn is your master resume. So you can have 5 jobs on your LinkedIn and 3 of them mentioned on the resume because only these 3 are relevant and significant to the job you're applying to. It can't be the other way around. You can't have 3 jobs on the resume on LinkedIn and 5 jobs on the resume. LinkedIn put everything on there that's relevant, everything you want to talk, you want people to know about you because likely people will find you on LinkedIn. Even if they get your resume, which should have your LinkedIn URL on it, they'll still look you up on Google. They'll try to find you on LinkedIn to see who you're connected in, what kind of activities you have, what other people say about you. Are you saying the same thing on the rest on your LinkedIn publicly, or are you hiding information away from LinkedIn? Like everybody does that, right? They
Yep.
remove the description from LinkedIn. They think they're being smart, right? Oh, I'm just gonna say it in here. I'm not gonna. I don't want to put too much LinkedIn details because like some of the stuff I'm stretching a little bit. Well, guess what? Recruiters know that. You have the job, no description on LinkedIn. They're gonna look at your resume and just call bullshit on all of it. If it was true, you would have put it on your LinkedIn so it's live, available publicly 24/7. You know, it's that verification filter. If you don't have it on LinkedIn, it doesn't exist. You didn't do it. I know I'm exaggerating in my feedback a little bit to take everything with a little grain of salt, but like a little grain of salt. 90% of what I'm doing is aggressively true. They look at your resume, look at your LinkedIn's empty, therefore your resume is a complete lie.
Mm.
That's the training. I have another 300 resumes and LinkedIn profiles to go through in the next 45 minutes. I'm not giving a single chance the person could, actually be telling the truth. The training of a recruiter is negative bias. They look for reasons to disqualify you. They see discrepancies and they slash you, right?
Hmm. Yeah. All right. Should I accept an interview that would be with an AI bot or voice chat versus Zoom or in person?
Of course, like what's your other option? Say no, I don't want to interview with you guys. Yeah, like most companies are transitioning anyways. I mean, HireVue was among the few that started doing this like in freaking 2018, you know? Most companies, if they haven't adopted AI interviewers, they should. I'm a big supporter of it. Yeah, all my recruiter friends are going to lose their job. They've already been losing their jobs, right? The person that runs that first screening call, the screens its resume, that person, so the sourcers, the junior resumes, they're all going to lose their jobs. And I really hope they do because AI does a better job at that. We're about to get to a point that you're not going to apply to jobs anymore. You're going to book an interview with a company. So you see how everybody complains, oh, I applied to a job. I need a better resume. I applied to 50 jobs. I got one resume. I got applied to 50 jobs. I sent 50 resumes. I got two interviews. Well, guess what? We're almost at a point that you want to interview at a company, go to their company website, pick the job, do an interview in real time with AI. 100% interview rating, interview response rate. So the resume is going to go away at that point, hopefully very soon. We're going to have your online platform, let's say LinkedIn, and you interview with our company's AI whenever you want, wherever you want. There's probably going to be a little bit of a frequency thing, frequency filter. So yeah, you can do it only once a month or once a quarter. But the person that runs the first screening round, it's going to turn into AI, hopefully sooner than later. And you guys are all going to be happy. Everybody's going to be thrilled. I'll lose part of my job, so there's no more resumes to write, and this conversation will become completely irrelevant because you don't need the resume to qualify for an interview. You can just book your own interview with an AI. And that AI is only going to get better.
Good. How important is the duration of a role? How do you handle overlapping jobs?
Duration doesn't matter. What you did matters. If you worked on a job for one day and you were a construction guy, you came on site and you identified a burst pipe at the back of the building that nobody saw. You're like, oh, water leaking here. You guys didn't catch it. You open up the ground, there's freaking water running out. Somebody hits a gas line. Now the whole neighborhood has get evacuated. And then let's say you get fired by the end of the day, or it was a one-day job. Guess what you did? You saved lots of money for that project, and you potentially saved gas poisoning of many people in the neighborhood. Do you think you should put that on your resume or not? You should. You could literally save people's lives, right? That
Yeah.
gas, one of that construction guys could have sparked a cigarette and blow up the whole neighborhood. So it's not, again, it's an example I'm giving you is exaggerated. It's actually real to show you it's not how long you were on the job. You could have come into this office, looked on my whiteboard as a, let's say, business coach. You look at something I'm doing wrong, you fix it. That's valuable to me. That's something you just did. You actually impacted my business today. So business impact, going back to what we talked about earlier. What was your impact during that time? If you worked somewhere for 3 months and you didn't do much, that's probably why they let you go and you moved on by yourself. Yeah, you probably didn't do much. What are you going to say about the things you did in those 3 months? If you got nothing much to say, then don't say it. It's not about the duration. It's about what you did. What problems did you solve? What did you impact? What happened at the end?
Yeah. Have you seen unrealistic job descriptions lately? It feels like entry-level roles now require 5 years of experience. Do you just move on?
Yeah, so the answer to that first question is yeah, it's becoming more unrealistic. I mean, applications is not a big part. Like we talked about, we got a 1 to 2, maybe 3% chance of success with applications. So do it for the sake of doing it, only apply to jobs you're qualified for. But you got to engage. So we have a question here. Is it worth it to do likes and comments on posts on LinkedIn? Absolutely, that's the engagement. So getting interviews through posting on LinkedIn or commenting on company posts, the average is about like 10 to 15%. So would you rather do something that has a 10 to 15% chance of you getting interviews or 1 to 2% chance? My clients are doing 10 comments per day, three posts. 10 comments per day is a minimum. So I start them as 10 comments a day. They move up to 20 comments a day, Monday through Friday. So that's 100 comments per week. It's easy. We have workflows, prompts. So 3 years ago, guess what? I had to sit down and teach them how to do commenting, what to say, what not to say, give them samples. Today, all the samples and all the instructions, kind of like a workflow you guys have access to today. The commenting is the same process. The content generation posting, I mean, that's like a 10-page prompt. That is so much easier, so much more fun, and so much more effective in terms of getting interviews versus just updating resumes and sending resumes to company websites for a 2% chance of success. I take I rather take my 10 to 15 chance of success here with the engagement and the 30 to 40% chance of success with the outreach. Find the hiring managers, find the people that work in that team, and engage them into a conversation. Don't ask them for a job. So that's the worst conversation you can have. You ask them questions that demonstrate you genuinely know who they are, what they need help with, problems they want to solve. Don't talk about yourself yet. Tell them why you like them. What problems do you believe they have that you can solve? Then talk about yourself. So company, problem, person, you. So you gotta be patient. You might need to wait at least 3 messages. 3 to 5 messages you gotta wait before you talk about yourself. So as early as message 3, if you're really good and they're responsive, sometimes you have to follow up a fourth time, sometimes you have to follow up a fifth time, and then it's time to talk about yourself. It'll take 1 or 2 weeks of going back and forth, but in those 1 or 2 weeks, you just got an interview. You got an information interview. You got a referral, versus applying to jobs online, cross your fingers and hope to God, for that 1% chance of, standing out among the hundreds of candidates.
Yeah. Many ATS systems have lots of previous versions of resumes stored in them. Do hiring managers really end up looking at them or just the one you turned in for that application?
Just the one you turn in for the application. They don't have time. They'll take
Yeah.
a look at it for 5 to 10 seconds and they move on. Either they give you a check mark, they green flag you, they push you to the next stage, or you just lost it. That's what
Yeah.
you always want to have a referral. You want to have a connection. You want to grab their attention through your LinkedIn content, through your engagements, through likes, comments, posts, reposts. These are again more fun and more effective.
Yeah.
And you want to create this kind of like awareness about you. If I mean, quote me if you want. I don't know, 6 months from now, Albert, you do all these AI things. A year from now, 3 years from now, are we really going to have a resume? Are we really going to be applying to jobs online? Are companies going to be looking for resumes to hire someone? It will be more automated. It will be their AI agents autonomously looking for content about you, looking through the internet, searching for you, not inside their own applicant tracking system. They're going to be looking for public information, publicly available data. By that point, Albert's building his own agents and his own platforms. I'm building. I have been building. By the end of this year, I'm transitioning fully to a software company. I'm going to be selling my software,
You
not
mind if I
hourly
share my
time.
screen to show some things that I'm building just to
Yeah,
give
go for it. I mean,
you?
that's like we're all evolving. Albert's evolving. I'm changing after 16 years from a sit down coaching.
I mean,
I'll still do a
Nader, how
little
you
bit
were
of it, but
talking a little bit ago about how when AI first came out, you crawled into a hole for 3 months. I now realize
I was fully depressed for 3 months. Yes. I
I
mean,
had my
everybody
crawl
has that.
into a hole moment for the last couple of months because I honestly wasn't sure. Like I'm like, agents, what am I supposed to do here? And then I started thinking in like workflows. And
Hmm.
so you won't see all of this on my own GitHub, but this is all the workflows I've been building.
Nice.
There's 17 repos on my GitHub now. And what have I done here? I'm not even a software engineer, but I've done 163 commits in the last month and a half.
100%.
Right?
The last bit of software development I did was in 2007,
Yeah.
19 years ago. So you don't need background. Like, honestly, you don't need any of that. But the big aha moment everyone wants to leave with is like everything's changing. Like, we need to transition towards AI.
Yeah.
We need to know, and that's why you're here, that hiring is changing, getting hired is changing, is going to change even more. Resume is a dying breed of a tool that is so useless. Applying to jobs online for a 1% chance of success is a waste of life. Do you
Yeah.
still have to do it? Yeah. Should you do it the first thing in the morning? Hell no. Do your outreach first, do your networking first, build your presence on LinkedIn. Then with the 30 minutes at the end of the day, okay, apply to a job online just to scratch that itch. But it's a lottery. The success rate is so low that my goal, that's why I'm super honest and direct or potentially harsh, during these presentations to just kind of like stop you from moving in the wrong direction.
I know you're very nice, Nutter, and but you're also
I know
tough.
I am super nice. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
But saying something nicely hits and sits
yeah,
differently than saying something abruptly and partially aggressively, right? Because,
yeah.
especially if you've done something for as long as I have done and you have done it, I don't want any of these people to spend any more time doing something that they don't actually get results from. Because that's my entire life is on that, you know?
We're gonna
That's what I do
convince
for a
people
living,
slowly
helping
and
people.
slowly, right? Like, I mean, it's just.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, this is like, right, I've created some competitive intelligence agents at work. My fiance has a nonprofit, so I've created some grant writers. I built a website. This is a thought leadership agent where I literally have RSS feeds and I type in my bullet points for what I think, and it builds an entire LinkedIn post,
Nice.
and so forth and so on. And so, what I'm creating here, this is a strategy-based, like AI agent where I'll just link it to you, and I won't bore you with the details. I'll have to do this on another webinar, because it's not done yet. But yeah, I mean, this is kind of where I've been spending a lot of time, and I do zero coding. It's me and Claude and the processes that allow me to work in GitHub. And this may eventually be its own webinar where I teach like the very super basics that lead into something greater. But these are all very like single track, like even let me see, I have Streamlit agents, right? So if I go into my apps here, there's even a random tool that I've built where it basically you answer questions about what it is that you do for work, and then it gives you an idea of what kind of jobs you can have out there, right? And so it's very these things are very simplistic, but we can all do those at this point. So
We certainly can. People
yeah,
are still the path, right? So you
yeah,
gotta make the connections through people, whether that's me or whether that's Albert. There is certainly a resistance to make human to human connections.
yeah.
Super obvious with networking. People are petrified and scared of networking. But there's 46 people here. Only 7 people connected with me today on LinkedIn. Like, let's call that out. Like, I don't care. I have over 20,000 followers. I really don't care getting 10 more followers. But just the fact that I see such a resistance connecting with people, whether it's, hey, we spent 2 hours together.
Yeah.
Hey, this person, like, fraction, only 20% of the group reach out, less than 20%. And then when it's networking, again, when I coach someone, we reach out to 100 people per week.
I just think
Think
about
about
it,
that.
and we had a hundred and let's see here. 139 people signed up for today's webinar. We topped out at around 50, and seven of those 50 connected with you, right? So it's like you're generous with your time, I'm generous with our time. Come on.
Well, I'm just kind of like, I'm the wrong person to point that out, but
Yeah.
I mean, I've been doing this for so long that I don't care if you think I'm biased or I'm a dick. Is like the best thing I can tell you is to be honest, to point out what's wrong, you know?
You and I have
Uh,
211 mutual connections on LinkedIn though, so
we do. You know? But again, so when I coach someone one-on-one, their homework is 100 outgoing invitations every week. The
yeah.
amount of resistance I face on that is insane.
Yeah.
It's frustrating. It's like
Yeah,
all
and
you have to do
Michael,
is
I get it.
copy,
People
paste,
don't want to
send.
blow their first impression, but you got to make an impression to
Oh,
get
the first
somewhere.
impression is perfect. I
Yeah.
did their profile. I give you their message. All you have to do is just literally copy, paste, send, copy,
Yeah.
paste, send. But fundamentally,
Yeah.
from that human energy that you're carrying, there's a lot of like, with people, if they think I'm this kind of person, what if they look at my masters and they're a PhD? It's like, dude, just relax. You know what I mean? It's like people are the path. You got to connect to people. You know what I mean? Or like just generally the resistance, the massive resistance away from networking and towards applications. It's like people look at the statistics, 0.1, 2% chance of success. and they really want to apply for more jobs. Like that perspective shift is what I started working on at the beginning of this call. It's like change your perspective. If you stop applying to any jobs for the rest of your job time today and you just do engagements and outreach, you're going to be
Yep.
so much happier, so much successful. But like Michael's saying, it's more of a psychological than anything else. It is. It's definitely the mindset, the approach, the perspective is like,
Yeah.
like why am I not reaching out to everybody around me right now? You know what I mean? Like, why isn't everybody here connecting with everybody here? That's the problem. Because it's networking. You see, networking as its core, people are the path to your success. Anybody here could have a lead or a connection. You connect, Olaf connects with Michael, Michael connects with Ray, Ray connects with, somebody else. As oh, now we have a bunch of shared connections. We can share leads, we can pass on learnings and teachings and, you know, get
Yeah.
get 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 better at networking, get open, be comfortable with giving away advice and
And here's my
JP, amen
LinkedIn
to that,
too.
man.
I,
Whether
I'm
you're doing
I'm
it
I'm a
online or
little bit
offline,
behind you,
get
Nader.
around
I only
people.
have 11,549 connections on LinkedIn.
I mean, quality over quantity, you know.
Yeah.
Again, whether it's the gym, whether it's church this Sunday, like whatever it is, just get out there, talk to people.
Yeah.
I have a client who asked his like uncle for something. He didn't even ask, gave him an update around the golf course, I think. It's like, oh, I got an interview. It's like, cool.
Yeah.
How did that happen? I was talking to my uncle. I
Yeah.
love it. Who thinks about talking to their old uncle? No one, but if you're just willing to, they might know someone, and then now you have a powerful referral that's more
Yeah.
powerful than any number of applications you can submit.
Yeah. All right, we are 2 hours in. I want to thank you so much for your extra hour, Nader. I hope to do this again with you soon. For everyone else, thank you so much for showing up again and taking your time to learn how you can better your resume. We'll be sending you the recording, and we've got lots and lots of other events coming up as well. And so until next time, get out there, go hustle, work through this AI world. We'll make it out alive, and we'll see you all very soon. Thanks,
Take care,
everyone.
everyone. Lovely talking to you. Thank you,
Yep.
Albert, as
Bye bye.
always. See ya.